It appears that Wizards of the Coast is aiming to set a new record. Unfortunately, that record is the most mistakes ever made in a set, and Strixhaven looks like it's ready to take the cake. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, we are here today for another installment of Mega Magic News. Now, normally, when I do an episode of this nature, I will have good news, I'll have bad news, it'll be mixed from a number of different sources, but today it's all bad news. And it's all revolving around Strixhaven, okay? So, we're going to start out by talking about production issues that Wizards of the Coast has been having, specifically with Strixhaven and getting that Strixhaven product to the stores. Because Wizards of the Coast just put out a tweet that says, select Strixhaven products will be delayed or initially limited in some areas impacting North America and the Asia-Pacific region. These are not limited releases, and we're working to supply fans and stores as soon as possible. So basically, in a nutshell, what's going on here is Wizards of the Coast isn't able to get all the product that they want out to the shops. And as a result, if you go to a Strixhaven pre-release location, if you're lucky enough to even be in a part of the world where a pre-release can happen, or even just where the stores are open. Anyways, if you go to a LGS, planning to grab yourself some of that Strixhaven goodness, when it comes to booster boxes, you're only going to be able to acquire set booster boxes. So draft booster boxes, which are traditionally available at pre-release time, will not be available. Now, I'm not 100% sure what caused this delay. I know that in terms of worldwide shipping of products and things like that, that there has been a major fiasco that has caused a whole bunch of companies' products to be delayed, where a massive shipping a unit, like a gigantic freighting ship, kind of got stuck in a, like one of the ways they travel down in the water there, like sideways shifted or something, and it ended up with a bunch of other ships being kind of backlogged. Now, I don't know if that's what's causing this production issue, because let's be real, Wizards of the Coast seems to be struggling with production issues for a fair bit of time now, right? I mean, you can look back as far as things like Jumpstart and go, yeah, you know what, we've been dealing with this for a while. So I don't 100% know if it has anything to do with what happened with the shipping stuff, but I figured I'd throw it out there. I'm not really that informed on it. You can look down. I'm here to talk about the magic news, not worldwide shipping news. Greetings, owners of giant freighters full of goods that have been shipped from China. It just doesn't have the same kind of zing as my intro phrase now, does it? So, that's the first item we have on our list. From here on, we're going to be diving into particular card issues, and there are a bunch of them with this set. I mean, we already talked about how Zephi the Thunder Conductor says Zephi Thunder Collector in his rules text, thus invalidating part of his ability. I literally already did a video on that, but since we're talking about card errors and things like that in this video, I thought I would bring it up so that you would also be aware, if you hadn't seen that video, that it's more than just what I'm talking about in this video that we're dealing with. So, we have a number of different statements made by Wizards of the Coast in regards to different production issues. The first one that I have down, and this is in no particular order, but the first one I've written down is that the Japanese alternate art variants, so we're talking about the Mystic Archive cards, they have messed up and accidentally put the wrong art on multiple cards. So essentially, two different cards have had their arts swapped. So I'll put them up on the screen for you here. We're dealing with the Japanese Ephemerate and the Japanese Memory Lapse. So the artwork on these two different cards is actually supposed to be on the other card, all right? So just know that for every printing of the Japanese alternate art Mystic Archive cards, they're all printed like this. This is going to affect collector boosters and things like that. There's no word on whether future printings will have this corrected or if this is just going to be the standard setup for these cards and Wizards won't be printing more. Because let's be real, we're dealing with a scenario where these aren't limited print run products, but at the same time, by the very nature of the fact that Wizards can only have so many products being created at any given time and the limited capacity to produce things, all of Magic products, to one degree or another, are more limited than they used to be. So it's not really clear whether this artwork situation will get resolved, okay? Now we have some other card issues. So the next thing we're going to talk about is one of the flip cards, okay? Now, it's really just one side of the flip card that matters, so we're not going to bother with the front. We're just going to talk about Journey to the Oracle. So, up on the screen, I'll put the two different images that we were shown with the extended version and the regular version, and I'll give you a quick second to look at them and see if you notice a discrepancy between the two. Is there any difference that you notice off the top of your head? Maybe, you know, with the casting cost, something like that. That's exactly where it is. It's the casting cost. So it says 3 and it says 4, either 2 green and 2 or 2 green and 1. So which is it? Well, the correct casting cost is actually 2 green and 4. Now, here's where it gets even funnier to me. And this is the fact that the cards are printed correctly. So there is literally no error on the cards. Wizards of the Coast has come out and made a statement and said, all of the cards will be properly printed with the proper casting cost, and the Oracle wording will reflect this. I'll be real, I don't even know why you need to bother saying the Oracle wording will tell you the right amount when people are, like, if every printed copy of the card is correct, why would you need to refer to the Oracle wording? But whatever. Maybe it's just standardized templating. And you know what, actually, never mind. I've been dealing with people on the internet long enough to realize that you really genuinely do need to explain everything out to them. So I will withdraw my concern over why they did that. It's like, okay, I get it now. So this is not actually printed on the card. It's literally just a digital image issue, which is pretty amusing to me because it's the simplest thing to not do. Like, it's like, let me get this straight. You, at one point, clearly had this card costing 3 to cast instead of 4. And then you changed it to 4. But you kept the old digital files with the incorrect information on it? Like, how do you do that? How is that possible? Whatever. It's at the end of the day, it's just causing them more of a headache, and it's just more failure from them. Now, the next card we're going to talk about is Augmented Pugilist. Okay, so let me again put up the extended version and the regular version on the screen. You can take a look. It's like a little mini quiz, like a little mini game. Can you spot what the problem is? Now, this one's not the casting cost, right? And it may actually take you a little bit longer to sort out what the problem is with this one, because the main stuff you're going to look at is casting cost, power and toughness, ability. Probably going to take you a little bit to get around to the creature line and go, wait a minute, troll, elf, troll druid, elf druid. And then you look at the artwork and go, oh, wait, I mean, the artwork is clearly a troll. Look at this artwork. It's clearly a troll. How is this even possible? Like, how do you end up with a creature type of elf with that artwork? This one genuinely confuses me. The casting cost one I can get. This elf druid situation is a lot more confusing to me because clearly it's a troll. I don't know if they were shuffling artwork around from different things. I mean, I'll be real. If you want to know why I think all of these errors have been happening, I will get into that. First of all, you know what, before I talk about why this is happening, let me just tell you the truth about this Augmented Pugilist. First of all, yes, it definitely is a troll. It is not an elf. And this is also a situation where the error isn't on the actual cards. So when you get the real cards, you're going to have a situation where it's just the troll druid, everything's all good. But again, they've shared the wrong digital images and they've caused confusion. I mean, this kind of stuff is being brought up by regular everyday folk, but also people who run websites like Star City Games, for example. They basically tweeted at Wizard saying, hey, there's a discrepancy here between these two printings, and what is it that we're dealing with, right? Because they've got to try and have the right information up on their website for selling the cards. The last thing you want to do is sell people cards telling them it's got a casting cost of 3. oops, it's got a casting cost of 4, right? So honestly, they're doing more due diligence just as a card selling website than the people who are actually making the cards, which is kind of mind-blowing. Actually, more than kind of mind-blowing. Now, why is this happening? I strongly believe that this all has to do with Harry Potter, okay? So, the way that I look at it is, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was rumors, like however long ago, a year ago or more, that there was going to be a Harry Potter crossover with Magic the Gathering. And if you look at the time frame that we're existing in right now, we're living in the era of crossovers. We already had Godzilla, we already had Walking Dead. The next set after Strixhaven is literally a Dungeons & Dragons crossover. If you look at Kaldheim, that could have totally been a Skyrim-style crossover. Could have fallen apart, but whatever. Kaldheim didn't seem as messy as Strixhaven. But Strixhaven, as a Harry Potter crossover, was most likely, now I can't prove it, but it was most likely going to be a reality. And if you look at all of the different elements, like if you're a Harry Potter fan, and I'm okay with Harry Potter. I think it's okay. It's pretty all right as a a fantasy style story with a mage school. Admittedly, with the series of books, they were written to start out for like younger kids, and they kind of graduate with them. So as the children age, the books become a little more adult and serious. And I actually really like that as a concept. That's a cool idea, but it also does lead to a scenario where if you encounter the stuff and you're a fully grown adult, then the books at the beginning are a little less engaging, and the movies are okay as well. So I come somewhere in the middle for Harry Potter, and there's obvious stuff to me where I'm like, okay, this is clearly Harry Potter influenced, right? There's so many different things, even down to the promotional kits they made with all the scarves, the fact that they have the little like mage game that they play that's supposed to be like Quidditch and all this kind of like, there's a bunch of stuff like that that really screams Harry Potter congruent, right? That is the deal. So whatever happened made them decide either they couldn't get the licensing rights or they decided it was a bad idea, and it left them needing to scramble at the last moment. They had to change a whole bunch of stuff about what they were doing. And as a result, you end up with a scenario where, okay, we've got to make all these tweaks, we've got to make all these changes, we've got to get things just kind of shoved together at the last minute. And that's why Strixhaven feels so disjointed in some ways, in terms of like, you've got like the wrong wording on cards, in terms of literally not having the correct name. We're not talking about like actual functionality changes. We're talking about like cosmetic changes where it's like, okay, clearly you had collector in the name. And I believe there's the one, wasn't there the one guy in Harry Potter who was the collector? So there's just these overlaps. There's too many of them to make it feel like this is anything other than a scenario where it was originally supposed to be Harry Potter, and Wizards of the Coast had that basically pulled back from them at the last moment, either through not being able to negotiate a license or the company getting cold feet about the concept for any number of reasons. I really don't know exactly what caused this to fall apart. But I mean, this is a school, Strixhaven, it's based around owls. When you look at the little shield thing, like they've got the different houses, it has such an overlap with Harry Potter that it's an impossible situation for me not to look at it and go, well, that's what you were going for, right? Like it even has, like the Strixhaven promotional stuff they've been doing, it even has a little bit more of a slanted towards younger audience feel. Like if you saw that little animated short with the talking codex, and then the talking codex to me feels like their attempt at giving like, well, the Harry Potter had that kind of gruff sounding sorting hat, right? Or whatever, it's what it's called, isn't it? The sorting hat? I'm pretty sure that's what it is. They had a pretty simple name for it. And so they had the sorting hat, and then you've got this like talking codex that has almost a similar-ish kind of voice. So you have that little cartoon video that's like 45 seconds long, where you've got the codex and the student coming on the stage and whatever, and it really does feel like it's geared towards a younger Harry Potter-esque style audience. That's just the feel that it gave me. Ultimately, this is nothing, like I said, that I can prove, but it really does feel to me like we're just dealing with a bunch of problems based on hastily slapped together stuff. It's not as hasty as Ikoria ended up feeling, but still, the number of mistakes that we're seeing overall is kind of mind-blowing, especially with the releasing of the improper image files. How does that even happen? You guys have, like, first of all, you've been making Magic for like 30 years, but you've been engaging in the digital world for quite a while, so there's no real excuse for this. But anyways, I wanted to share my thoughts after obviously sharing all of the different news items. I won't be surprised if more of this stuff shows up, because there's already a bunch of it. It just seems to be boom, 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 popping up like nothing. Anyhow, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know if you've seen anything of this nature that I haven't yet covered. Thanks for coming by, my friends. List of my top patrons scrolling on by. Link to the newest Urza lore video here at the end. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's absolutely amazing. You want to hear some old school, awesome Magic lore? This stuff is far beyond anything that they make nowadays. So go check it out. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for coming by. See you guys next time.